We interrupt this broadcast with breaking news concerning Israel and the escalating situation in the Middle East.
Shalom again. This is ben-Emmett with a very important newsworthy event from none other than the TWSI Middle East News Service from Kip Mill, Maryland, United States of America, that land that I love, that I was born in, raised. Why am I payos out? Well, sometimes in the diaspora, and you're seduced by so many Gentile ideas and things, sometimes a Jew has to have a Me Too moment and come out of the closet and be more Jewish. At my age, I'm thankful to have any hair on my head. I can grow more hair here than I can grow hair here. I make jokes with people, non-Jews, all the time. Why I wear this Bulgarian design skull cap or kippah, whatever you want to call it. It hides your bald spot. It also helps to keep the sun off your head and helps to keep you in check with the divine creator, the Lord our God, with his hand pushing you down to the earth just a little bit to keep that male ego in check. What am I talking about today? Well, there's really a lot of things I found out today. Did you know that there is a undeclared state of war between Israel and the country of Egypt now? I'll get to that in just a moment. But the banner headline, and I'm your on the road Jewish news reporter, literally. It's what's happening with Jared Kushner, and I call it Jared Kushner's Gaza Peace Plan. I've done videos on this, some video takes on this, and you probably read about it. Everyone should know who Jared Kushner is. He is supposedly the Orthodox Jewish son-in-law that's married into the family of real estate billionaires of Donald J. Trump, our president. Someone who I voted for 3 times. You ever have buyer's remorse? Not getting into that. Did you know the price for a barrel of oil is more than $90 a barrel? Just want to put that in your mind, put that on the back shelf. Back to Jared Kushner. You know he's been working since, I don't know, for the last 2-3 years. Actually, yeah, about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. He actually worked with President Trump's first administration. So let's go back to about 2015, I believe, if I'm correct. Working with Steve Witkoff, okay, who had pretty much a crying moment with a Hamas mastermind out of Qatar who lost his son, a terrorist, due to an IDF attack, right? And Witkoff said, I feel for you, brother. Jared Kushner had the same kind of compassionate, touchy-feeling moment with the Hamas leadership and Qatar as well. What is wrong with the world today when you feel that you're crazy, but the world is more crazier than you still? But anyway, Jared Kushner went to Israel recently, met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's supposedly running for re-election, historically longest prime minister in Israel's history. The Likud party looks good. We hope for him the best. Whatever you love, Benjamin Netanyahu or not, Jared Kushner is hoping for the next election so that he doesn't have to deal with a Zionist Jew like Benjamin Netanyahu. Yes, President Trump, just like Obama, is trying to short circuit the election process in Israel as we speak and trying to undermine that. In fact, Israel, for their own self-defense, and they don't have to reveal to any other country why they attack a terrorist cell in another country, like in Syria. They gave internal channels to the United States, this is all public domain. They let them know, early warning, we are attacking this place in Syria at this point in time. As you know, President Trump is best friends now with a new Syrian president who had millions of dollars of bounty on his head. He was a mastermind who worked with Al-Qaeda. And many people, including Americans, lost their lives, but suddenly he's a terrorist in a three-piece suit, and he's approved by Donald J. Trump to take sanctions off of Syria. It's still a terrorist enclave. It still is almost like an act of war unite with Israel over the Golan Heights. Golan Heights, even President Trump said, will forever belong to Israel. It's their DMZ, it's their territory that they won lawfully. Let's get back to the Gaza Peace Plan. Well, Hamas politicians and bureaucrats, the millionaires, the masterminds of Hamas funding for decades, they're the gravy train. Out of Doha, Qatar, they claim that Hamas is finally ready, the first time since their instantiation in 2007, to give up all their weapons. Yeah, they don't want to fight anymore. They want to be just a peaceful political party and to coexist with a new, normalized, good Muslim Palestinian government. Yes, Jared Kushner wants the end goal, and I'll just take the rabbit out of the hat right now and let you know what's happening. This will lead to a new Palestinian state in Gaza Strip. How stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? Already reminded you what happened in 2005 when George Walker Bush and Ariel Sharon brokered a land for peace deal with Yasser Arafat, the PLO, and the Palestinians. They thought that giving land to Palestinians would make them peaceful. But it's never been about land. It's about the extermination of every Jew from the river to the sea. That is their banner headline throughout Ivy League colleges in the United States. They are still saying that. And they still, by their heart, not all of them, a few of them are very peaceful in the United States. I know a few of them. What I'm saying is a Palestinian state anywhere in Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu said very clearly, and kudos to him. God bless him for saying that. There will never be, as long as he's a PM, a Palestinian state in Israel. And the people that were murdered on October 7, 2023 are saying the same thing. Never will we trust Palestinians for any form, any elected government again. They don't have the ability to have an independent governing body. They just don't. They don't. They elected Hamas as their terrorist government in 2007. And you want to give these people another chance? No, that's not going to happen. Now, on the ground, I did a video about this a few weeks ago under TWSI Middle East News Service. Hamas and Qatar may say on paper they signed the will and intent, the 15-point plan, it used to be 20-point plan, but the Gaza Peace Plan, that Hamas has finally decided to demilitarize. That means come out of their tunnels, just help whoever is going to destroy those tunnels, help with the rebuilding effort, give up their weapons, transfer them to Egyptian collaborators, I don't know. But on the ground, Hamas has not given up any weapons. They have not told the IDF or anyone else they plan on giving up any weapons at any point in time. Listen, the will and dealing between President Trump and the Arab states, namely Qatar and Oman and Saudi Arabia and others, try to work a memorandum of misunderstanding. And they were saying, these people are crazy. They're diabolical. They're devious. They're tricky. You cannot trust them. The IRGC might call themselves any name in the book. They still are terrorists. They're an Islamic terrorist organization. The United States recognizes them before this war started, the undeclared war, as a terrorist organization. So the same kind of insanity that you live around insane people, and these people you expect to be normal, and you know your people are hungry. The inflation is supposedly 400%. Can you imagine that in that country? the Iran's government does not care if everyone in that country dies as long as they stay in power. It's the same thing we're dealing with Hamas. Why is it so hard to understand? Now, all the accomplishments supposedly from Jared Kushner, from the Abraham Accord and everything else. He's assumed all those accomplishments and milestone achievements through the works of other people. He has no credentials. Jared Kushner, you trust him? He has no credentials. He has a bachelor's degree in art. And that's Harvard, okay? He's a smart guy. I think he has a master's degree in something. All he knows is about real estate and building things. I don't even think he knows a lot about the Hebrew language, much less Arabic language. He does not have a degree in multiculturalism or Middle East studies. Someone said on YouTube recently that he called himself learning because he read 20 books about the Middle East conflict. I've been studying this since I was a teenager. So you have this person, Jared Kushner, who is biased because he's the son-in-law of his father-in-law, Donald J. Trump. Nice guy, nice family, and everything, but I'm saying going to Israel on marching orders from the President of the United States and telling another prime minister of another sovereign country, Israel, at least since 1948, that you will immediately disarm the IDF. You will remove IDF from your self-declared yellow zone, DMZ zone around Gaza Strip. You will move all your soldiers out, disengage immediately, and you will stop attacking any Hamas terrorists. Again, for, I don't know, Jared Kushner said, we hope in 60 days, Hamas on the ground will give up their weapons. So this is the same willing dealing that Hamas was doing with Israel before President Trump became president. They said, if you move your troops out of Gaza, we'll release the hostages. This is the same kind of nonsense going on. And round we go. Where we stop, no one knows. But I told you, there is a staging war, a state of war going on between Egypt and Israel. What does it have to do with the Gaza Peace Plan? Well, it could have everything to do with it. Please listen up. Something I confirmed today. Egypt's government, since 1979, yeah, 1979, and since that peace treaty was signed between, I think Sadat, yeah, and I think Jimmy Carter, if I get that right, I'm not sure. Yeah, Jimmy Carter and Israel, they signed that treaty. We've been sending what I call bribery payments, $1.3 billion to Egypt's government as a thank you gift for signing that peace treaty with Israel. Israel whooped the pants, yeah, I'm a country boy, whooped the pants off of Egypt. They had their troops all the way into Cairo. Israel took the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, and all of that land. And that peace treaty means that Israel was expected to give up land that they won lawfully. This peace treaty was forced upon Israel by the United States. Now, Egypt has thousands of troops, yes, along the southwestern border of the Negev, of Israel's border. Why do they have troops there and tanks? Well, I don't know. You tell me what their intent is. When you move thousands of troops and tanks to the border of another country, don't you think it's fairly likely they may be going to invade that country? The treaty signed in 1979, this is a violation of intent. It's a disengagement treaty. Israel would disengage all their tanks, all their weaponry, all their soldiers from their border with Egypt in exchange of this peace agreement. And $1.3 billion to sweeten the deal every year. Did you know we're close to $40 trillion in debt in this country? We have trillions of U.S. treasuries we sell to China and Japan and certain European nations to buy up our debt, to keep our AAA credit rating going. Yet we are giving away billions of dollars to Egypt, dirty, filthy Egypt, who's guilty of murdering or allowing the murdering of Coptic Christians, some of the world's oldest Christians in Egypt, the home of the Muslim Brotherhood. You remember all of that. And get this, if that's not bad enough, they are supporting their proxy, ISIS, Bedouin squatters, essentially, in the Sinai Peninsula, in that mountainous area, thousands of miles of real estate there, hiding in the mountain, like the Taliban. Russia, it used to be Iran, and maybe China too, but at least Russia today has been using the black market, Middle East black market, and sending advanced technology, missiles, and other weapons, AK-47, guns, grenades, bombs, whatever, sending it to Sudan, and Sudan has been smuggling this to the Sinai Peninsula, all under the watchful eye of Egyptians' elected government. This is happening. Israel knows it's happening. And at the same time, you have thousands of Egyptian troops on the southwestern border along the Negev of Israel. Then you have Jared Kushner saying peace is in the Middle East if Israel just stops bombing everyone. I'm sorry, Ben said that. And they pull out all their troops from Lebanon and from the Gaza Strip. And everyone can go home and eat apple pie. Does it sound ridiculous to you? This is what's happening in Israel. You have a criminal syndicate organization affiliated with ISIS, and ISIS is there. Their training camps are there in the Sinai Peninsula. We know this, folks. This is not confidential information. It's all over. It's all over the web. It's out there. It's happening. It is the fact. I'm not giving you my bias or my opinion. I'm giving you factual reporting on the road. You can see here in nature too, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in the Middle East today. So again, to sum it up, Israel is at a state of war with Egypt right now because Egypt has violated the 1979 peace treaty. Remember the 1973 Yom Kippur War? The time of Golda Meir? Yeah. Well, remember Kushner and that time frame? There have been movies about that. In 1979, that peace treaty said both parties to disengage. What is Egypt's intent? I don't know. Read Ezekiel chapter 38, and you'll read about these member state countries, Gog and Magog, and that's what it is. And God's very clear on this, that once Israel returns to the land and lives securely, 1948, some terrible things will happen, like the massacre in 2023 and all the Arab wars against Israel. But any standing army that lifts their ugly head at Israel and tries to attack Israel will be defeated by God. Not necessarily Israel's armies or anyone else's armies, but by God. If the Russians try to attack Israel, directly and indirectly, their soldiers will be destroyed. And the soldiers are being destroyed every day in Ukraine. So what do you think about this? Jared Kushner, you trust him? A lot of the right-wing zealots in Israel love him from Trump version 1. And I love Trump version 1 better than Trump version 2. That is not an improvement. And his approval rating or disapproval rating is more than 50% now. Do you think it's because the price of a barrel of oil is more than $90? Does that sound ridiculous? Why is it so high when Trump and Vance brag all the time about the millions of barrels of oil they're allowing to come out of the Strait of Hormuz? By the way, the Strait of Hormuz is now U.S. territory, and Trump thinks he's going to fix things by making bogus declarations like this. I deal with facts, folks. I deal with science and things, quantitative analysis, things you can hold in your hand, weighted measures and things like this. I don't deal with running my mouth, at least not too much. My wife doesn't allow me to get away with too much, and my daughter certainly. I tried to do my best to speak from the truth, black and white truth from my hip. So help me God. Well, Hakam Yara Bennett signing out till next time from TWSI Middle East News Service. And to the next newsworthy report I will give you on YouTube through my company, the Torah Watchman Show International.
If you've enjoyed this program, please click like and subscribe.